Let's see, so I'm going to skip down a few others here. Tom Aston was one of the first people I met as I walked in the building. Again, I pictured an F-14 Tomcat for the name Tom, and I pictured the Aston Martin automobile. So again, it was an aircraft flying over an automobile. Could be confusing for a lot of people. If you haven't done this very many times, that could be tricky. And by the way, if you're doing this for the first time, just start with first names. There's no need to necessarily even ever do the last names. You may never even apply this in a group setting like I'm doing. You may just want to use it to remember people's names in a group setting, just to remember for your own reference, or to just remember them, the people around your office, school, etc. Let's see, Bob Barquet was very simple. I'm sorry, yeah, Bob Barquet was his name. And of course I thought of Bob Barker. Now this guy was wearing a Bluetooth in his ear, and so I pictured Bob Barker wearing this Bluetooth, being on stage on the TV show The Price is Right. Bob Barker, I made that associated with Bob Barquet. Again, you have to know the name, otherwise you're going to end up calling the guy Bob Barker. But you're trying to find a memory aid that will help you light that fire, that will help ignite that switch, that will help you remember the name. Lisa Cross, I actually got wrong. I called her Linda Cross. And there's a reason for that. I actually misunderstood it, as I did not meet her, and I got her name. Her husband was Chuck, and they came in late, and I either met them very quickly at the last moment, or I didn't meet them at all, I'm not sure. But I had to ask somebody what it was, and I think there was some miscommunication there. I'll take responsibility for that one, though. Let's see, skipping down a couple. Dan Davis. There's a magic trick called Dan's Magic Van, and it's a kid's trick that I've known of for many years, being a magician. Dan's Magic Van, or something of that nature anyway. And I used that as a memory aid for him, and I also used a car dealership once again, because we're looking at a van. I thought of it, there's also in my hometown a car dealership called Davis Moore, and so I pictured that, and I also pictured the initials on the side of his van as DD, so that gave me a start to his last name, to the second name. And as far as remembering it, I pictured that magic van pulling into the car dealership. So at that point I've got the clue. I already know the first initial, it's D, because I've got a DD painted in my mind on the side of the van. And then I've got that it's pulling into a dealership, and that one pops into my mind. Now Larry Alloway was an interesting one. He had a shirt on that said OSHA, and I don't know if he worked for OSHA or not, but I would assume he did. And since today is almost the day of the federal government shutdown, I'm not sure he'll be working next week. But anyway, he had a shirt on that said OSHA. So I pictured Larry from the TV show Three's Company. I pictured the guy getting a new job at OSHA. I'm like, oh, he's all excited. He's got his coat on. He's going to work at OSHA. Then for the name Alloway, I pictured, you know, he's somebody that probably assesses fines and things like that. So I pictured him giving someone an allowance. He's being lenient. He's giving someone an allowance, and that leads me into Alloway. Again, you have to know the name, otherwise you're going to call him allowance, or something way off. You have to know the name. You have to say the name out loud, and say the name several times when you meet the person in your mind. Don't say it over and over out loud. They'll just think you're weird. But in any event, so you need to say the name several times to yourself. 1 or 2 times out loud is good. And then make that memory aid, that trigger, whatever kind of a creative picture image. Now the last guy, as I explained, was way off the chart. His name was, I can't even say it now, but I could say it pretty close during the meeting. So it was way off the charts. It was something I had to make some really severe twisted picture images that kind of went up and down and had all these connecting pieces, because his name was so long and obscure, but it was obscure by our standards, because we're used to American names. So in any event, there's how I memorized the names, most of them anyway, at the event that you just saw recorded. So I hope this is helpful. Please check out my website at www.denvermotivationalspeaker.com. There you'll find some products for sale. You'll find memory aid products for sale very soon, and you'll find some products on how to become a better speaker and how to start speaking at service clubs just like I did today. So I hope you got some use out of this, and I hope to see you again soon.